In the heart of a small American town lies the haunting legacy of the Hawthorne family, a tale wrapped in shadows and whispers. Clara, a young woman seeking solace after a painful divorce, steps into the decaying embrace of their abandoned home. With each creak of the floorboards, the house seems to breathe, its memories swirling around her like a thick fog. What secrets hide behind those dusty windows? What echoes of the past await her in the dark corners? As Clara unpacks her life into this forgotten space, a chill wraps around her spine. Is it just the cold, or is the house alive, aware of her presence? Her exploration leads her to a mysterious attic where she stumbles upon a weathered box filled with letters, photographs, and a diary that spills the Hawthorne family's tragic history. But as she reads, a connection forms, one that blurs the line between her reality and theirs. What happens when the past reaches out to grasp her, when the whispers in the night grow into haunting cries? As Clara delves deeper, she'll question everything: her identity, her choices, and the very essence of love itself. Will she find peace, or will the echoes of the Hawthornes consume her? Clara stepped into the Hawthorne house, and it was as if the very walls were breathing around her. The atmosphere was thick with history, each creak of the floorboards whispering tales from the past. It was a place that seemed alive, its presence wrapping around her like an old familiar cloak. As she wandered from room to room, Clara could almost feel the echoes of laughter and sorrow intermingling in the air. There was something captivating about the way the light filtered through the dusty windows, casting shadows that danced like memories longing to be remembered. Moving to a new home was never easy, but for Clara, it was a bittersweet journey, filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Leaving behind the remnants of her former life stirred a swirl of insecurities within her. She longed for a fresh start, yet the weight of her past loomed large, casting a shadow over her hopes. Each corner of the house seemed to challenge her resolve, urging her to confront her fears and insecurities. It was clear that this wasn't just a new house, it was a new chapter, filled with both potential and uncertainty. It wasn't long before Clara stumbled upon an old diary tucked away in a forgotten drawer. The leather cover was cracked, hinting at years of neglect, but the words within held a treasure trove of stories waiting to be uncovered. As she read through the pages, the tragic history of the Hawthorne family unfolded before her eyes. Each entry resonated deeply, pulling at her heartstrings as she learned about love, loss, and lingering regrets. This discovery sparked a connection between Clara and the former inhabitants, a bond forged through shared experiences of heartache and longing. The diary painted a vivid picture of a family intertwined with the very essence of the house. Clara felt as if she was stepping into their lives, experiencing their joys and sorrows alongside them. Each revelation drew her closer to the Hawthornes, igniting a profound emotional connection that was hard to shake off. She found herself captivated by the lives they led, feeling their pains as if they were her own. In a way, the diary became a lifeline for Clara, linking her to those who had walked the halls before her. Yet, with this connection came a sense of foreboding. Clara began to realize that the stories she was uncovering were not just tales of the past. They were warnings wrapped in layers of emotion. The house, with all its charm and beauty, held secrets that were better left undisturbed. Nonetheless, the allure of the Hawthorne legacy was too strong to resist, pulling her deeper into the web of their history and her own quest for belonging. As Clara delved deeper into the diary, she unraveled layers of love and tragedy that had shaped the Hawthorne family. Each page revealed new dimensions of their lives, stories of passionate romances and heartbreaking losses that echoed her own struggles. The emotions captured in ink resonated with her, igniting a sense of kinship with the long-gone residents of the house. Clara couldn't help but feel that their pain was a reflection of her own, intertwining their fates in an unexpected way. Amidst her journey of discovery, Clara found solace in her budding friendship with Sarah, a local who seemed to understand the weight of the Hawthorne legacy. Sarah became her anchor, offering support and companionship as Clara navigated the complexities of her new life. Their conversations flowed easily, each word weaving a tapestry of understanding and shared experiences. Yet beneath the surface of their friendship, there was an undercurrent of tension. Sarah's cautious warnings about the dangers of becoming too engrossed in the house house's history lingered in Clara's mind, urging her to tread carefully. Despite Sarah's concerns, Clara's curiosity about the Hawthorne family only intensified. The more she learned about their joys and sorrows, the more she felt compelled to explore the depths of their experiences. Clara's resistance to Sarah's warnings grew stronger as her desires for connection and understanding overshadowed the potential dangers. The diary had ignited a fire within her, and she was determined to uncover every secret the house held, even if it meant confronting the darkness that lay within. Their friendship began to strain under the weight of Clara's obsession. Sarah, ever the voice of reason, tried to remind Clara of the risks involved in delving too deeply into the past. She had seen the effects of the house on others and worried that Clara was heading down a similar path. But Clara's determination to belong, to find her place in the narrative of the Hawthornes, blinded her to the potential consequences. The house felt like a puzzle that needed to be completed, and Clara was unwilling to leave any pieces unturned. As the days turned into weeks, Clara found herself at a crossroads. Her desire to connect with the Hawthorne family and their history clashed with Sarah's warnings, creating a rift between them. Clara grappled with her growing obsession, torn between the thrill of discovery and the fear of losing herself in the process. The more she uncovered, the more she realized that the line between her identity and that of the Hawthornes was beginning to blur, leaving her unsure of where she truly belonged. As Clara settled into the eerie stillness of the Hawthorne house, the nights grew restless. Soft whispers seemed to drift through the hallways, teasing her senses and challenging her grip on reality. At first, she dismissed them as mere figments of her imagination, products of her anxious mind in a new and unfamiliar environment. But as the whispers persisted, they began gnawing at her sanity, urging her to confront the shadows lurking just beyond her understanding. Each murmur felt like a voice from the past, echoing the stories of the family's tragedies, and Clara couldn't help but feel drawn to them, even as they unsettled her. In tandem with the whispers came a series of vivid dreams that transported Clara into the lives of the Hawthorne family. Each night unfolded new scenes: a garden party filled with laughter, a clandestine meeting under the moonlight, and the heavy silence that followed a tragedy. These dreams blurred the lines between her own existence and the history of the house, leaving her disoriented upon waking. She often found herself questioning whether she was experiencing memories that were not her own. Was it merely a dream, or was she somehow tapping into the emotions and experiences of those who had come before her? Clara's internal struggle intensified as she wrestled with her own identity. The more she learned about the Hawthorne family, the more she felt a strange kinship with their joys and sorrows, their love stories, their heartaches. Everything seemed to resonate within her, echoing her own tumultuous journey through love and divorce. It was as if the house was whispering secrets, not just about the past, but about her own life, forcing her to confront her insecurities and desires. The distinction between Clara and the Hawthornes began to dissolve, leading her to question who she truly was beyond the walls of the house. Yet with each passing night, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. Clara found herself walking a tightrope between fascination and fear. Were these voices guiding her towards something profound, or were they merely figments of her troubled mind? She sought solace in her friendship with Sarah, but even that connection began to fray as Clara's obsession deepened. The emotional turmoil within her was palpable. She was caught in a web of curiosity and dread, unable to discern where her reality ended and the history of the Hawthornes began. It was a delicate dance, one that left her feeling more vulnerable than ever. As Clara plunged deeper into the secrets of the house, she realized that understanding the past was not only about uncovering the Hawthorne family's history, but also about confronting her own demons. Each whisper, each dream nudged her closer to self-discovery, yet the journey was fraught with conflict. The line separating her personal struggles from the family's narrative began to blur, leading Clara to question whether she was destined to repeat their mistakes, or if she could carve out a different path for herself. It was a haunting realization that would set the stage for the revelations to come. The deeper Clara delved into the history of the Hawthorne family, the more she uncovered a tale steeped in forbidden love and tragic choices. Among the pages of the diary, she stumbled upon a passionate romance that defied the norms of their time, leading to heart-wrenching consequences. This revelation struck a chord within Clara, forcing her to reflect on her own experiences with love. The echo echoes of her divorce whispered in her ear, prompting her to question the paths she had chosen. Was she truly free to pursue love, or was she shackled by the scars of her past? As Clara grappled with her emotions, tension brewed between her and Sarah. Initially, Sarah had been a steadying presence in Clara's life, offering support as she navigated the labyrinth of the Hawthorne legacy. However, as Clara's obsession with the house deepened, so did the strain in their friendship. Sarah's warnings about the dangers of becoming too entwined with the family's tragic history fell on deaf ears. Clara felt an urgency to uncover every detail, to understand the full scope of what the Hawthornes had endured. But in her single-minded pursuit, she was blind to the toll it was taking on her relationship with Sarah. The conflict between Clara and Sarah reached a boiling point one fateful evening when Clara's relentless curiosity clashed with Sarah's growing concern for her well-being. Words were exchanged that cut deep as Sarah implored Clara to step back and recognize the potential consequences of her fixation. Clara, fueled by her desire for connection, dismissed Sarah's concerns as mere fear of the unknown. In that moment, the very foundation of their friendship seemed to tremble as both women stood on opposite sides of an emotional chasm. Clara's internal battle intensified as she struggled to choose between the allure of the house and the bonds she had formed outside of it. Meanwhile, the town itself became a character in this unfolding drama, with its inhabitants whispering fragmented tales of the Hawthornes. Clara began to realize that the mystery of the family was not confined to the walls of the house. It seeped into the very fabric of the community. Each encounter with the townsfolk revealed snippets of history, painting a picture of a family that had lived under the heavy weight of scandal and loss. The fragmented stories only added to the aura of intrigue surrounding the Hawthornes, and Clara found herself both captivated and overwhelmed. The more she learned, the more she felt like an outsider, peering into a world that was never meant to be hers. As the tension mounted, Clara's internal conflict mirrored the chaotic dynamics of her relationships. The love stories she unearthed from the past forced her to confront her own choices, leading her to wonder if history was doomed to repeat itself. The whispers grew louder, urging her to make sense of her feelings and the consequences of her actions. Clara was caught in a tempest of emotions, torn between her longing for connection and the fear of losing herself entirely in the shadows of the Hawthorne legacy. It was a precarious balancing act, one that would ultimately lead her to a crossroads where she would have to make choices that would define her future and her identity. As the night deepened, Clara found herself drawn into the heart of the ritual, where the whispers of the Hawthorne family grew louder, echoing through the vast, empty halls of the house. The air was thick with an energy that was both intoxicating and terrifying. Clara's heart raced as she felt each whisper wrap around her like a shadow, tugging at the corners of her mind. She was no longer merely observing the past. She was becoming entwined in it, her emotions swirling in a tempest of anguish and longing. The weight of the family's history pressed down on her, revealing layers of sorrow that had remained hidden for so long. In that moment of overwhelming intensity, Clara experienced a flood of emotions: loss, love, betrayal, and despair. These feelings transcended time, pulling her deeper into the lives of the Hawthornes. Each heartbeat resonated with the pain of those who had come before her, and she began to see their faces, their struggles, and their unfulfilled desires. It was as if the house had become a mirror, reflecting not just the past, but also her own inner turmoil. Clara felt as if she were on the brink of a revelation, one that could shatter her understanding of herself and her place in the world. Amidst the chaos, Clara's sense of identity began to blur. She grappled with the realization that she was no longer just Clara, a woman seeking solace in a new home. Instead, she felt like she was becoming a vessel for the Hawthorne legacy, an echo of their pain and their choices. It was a haunting realization. Was she destined to repeat their mistakes, or could she break free from the cycle of sorrow? This internal struggle intensified as the whispers became more urgent, each one pressing her to confront the truth she had long avoided. As the ritual reached its climax, Clara experienced a profound epiphany. She understood that her connection to the Hawthorne family was not merely a fascination, it was a bond forged from shared pain and unresolved issues. Clara realized that she had unwittingly become a part of their story, a continuation of their legacy. This revelation struck her like a bolt of lightning, illuminating the dark corners of her mind and forcing her to confront the shadows of her own life. In that moment, she felt both liberated and trapped, caught between the desire to honor their memory and the need to reclaim her own identity. When Clara finally emerged from the depths of the ritual, it was not just a physical departure from the House Hawthorne, it was a symbolic farewell to the weight of the past. She stepped outside, feeling the cool air brush against her skin, a stark contrast to the suffocating atmosphere inside. Yet as she walked away, she knew that the echoes of the Hawthorne family would forever linger in her heart. The house may have been left behind, but the lessons learned and the scars borne would remain with her, shaping her journey for years to come. Clara understood that while she could leave the house, she could never fully escape the imprint it had left on her soul. As the haunting echoes of the Hawthorne family linger in the air, Clara stands at the threshold of her old life, grappling with the weight of her newfound reality. What began as a quest for solace has morphed into a chilling entanglement with the past. But here's the question: could anyone truly escape the shadows of history? Clara's journey begs us to ponder. What happens when we confront our own ghosts? Each whisper and shadow in that old house was not just a remnant of the Hawthornes, but a reflection of Clara's own struggles and regrets. Isn't it fascinating how our past can shape our identity, sometimes in ways we least expect? As she steps away from the house, a sense of liberation washes over her, but the specters remain, forever entwined with her spirit. This story reminds us that while we may try to leave behind our burdens, they often follow us, whispering lessons we need to learn. So what do you think? Are Clara's experiences a warning or a lesson? How do we confront our own echoes? Share your thoughts below. And remember, each story has its shadows. Until next time, keep your lights on and your mind open. The darkness holds secrets waiting to be uncovered.